Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. I have been trusted to host this episode. I have no idea why. I'm not sure I'm even going to give it any justice whatsoever because we've got a lot to talk about. But it's me, Nicola, hosting. Wish me luck because it's about to be a roller coaster 30 minutes. But before we get into it, I am joined by two guests and I'm going to introduce them. So I am happy you didn't hear what Kev just said before I hit record. But I am joined by our very own King Kev, our Wildcard Wednesday guru. He's feeling poorly, people. He's got the stupid man flu that he keeps moaning about. I've literally spoke to him for the past 4 minutes and it's all he's gone on about. Anyway, it's Kev. How are you, mate?
I mean, it's a great introduction, Wildcard Guru, King Kev. And then I've complained about man flu for like a minute. So, yeah,
A couple of minutes.
It was a long minute.
Can sympathise and be like, God, what a guy Kev is, coming on with man flu and taking one from the team. But I'm actually buzzing to be here. What a result.
Okay, I've got another guest to introduce before you blabber on, okay? So let's just hold that thought there. I am also joined by the yin to my yang, my Fab Shah to my Sven Botman. It's my girl, Jo. How are you, babe? A bit better than this morning?
Nick. I'm bloody brilliant. I'm so much better than I was this morning. Well, sorry, my voice is not entirely sure if me as a person is better. But
It's
yeah,
fine.
at least I can speak. It's still not 100% my voice, as you might hear, but it's definitely better than the mute I was this morning. But yeah, that's all down to the goddamn excitement about how much last night was. I know I nearly said something I shouldn't there.
So when you guys listen to this, for those of you that listen on a Friday morning or Friday, we're recording on a Thursday night, which is obviously the evening after a very exciting Carabao Cup fixture that we had. So let's get into it. Guys, we bloody done it.
Into it. Like we got into them yesterday though.
Oh, we done it. We done it. And that is all I'm going to say. I have never been so nervous for a game other than the final a couple of years ago than I was last night. I was an absolute mess. And then as soon as we started kick-off, all them nerves went and it turned into, even before kick-off, I could hear the, obviously, atmosphere at St. James Park through the TV screen. Really sad that wasn't there.
Epic.
Yeah, it sounded epic. Once the kick-off went, nerves went, and I was all in. So I'm coming to you guys. Kev, how are we feeling? Bring it.
I mean, 2 finals in 3 years. You know what, right? The crowd deserve loads of credit. I think my relationship with Newcastle fans, not that Newcastle fans know who I am, but just my personal relationship with Newcastle fans is very up and down because I feel like we can be our own worst enemy. But you know what? If we could generate that atmosphere, I know it's impossible, so I'm not blaming the fans here. But if we could generate that atmosphere every home game, we'd win the league. I'm convinced. I've said to so many people, anybody who'll listen to us, which again, not a lot of people. I mean, half of this podcast don't want to listen to us. But
true story. I don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, exactly. Should have. But no, if we could create that atmosphere, we'd genuinely be title challengers because I don't think many teams can come and play on that. PSG couldn't, Arsenal couldn't. There's been multiple other occasions, Spurs, etc., etc. That list would go on for a long, long time if I'd done any research, but I haven't because why would you when we're in a League Cup final? I almost swore as well. The amount of swear words creeping this one. It's very close.
This is going to be a tough one, guys. We're 3 minutes in.
But you know what? Anyway, the fans deserve a lot of credit because it was incredibly difficult for Arsenal to try and play any sort of game in that environment. It's a conversation for another time, but it's definitely a reason why we should not move stadium. But as well as the fans getting credit, the players deserve an absolute insane amount of credit. 2-0 up, everyone was nervous. They handled that so well. However, no surprise, Kev is going to give the most credit to Eddie Howe. The amount of people sat around me saying, why has he gone 5 at the back? Get away and jump. That was not 5 at the back. Fabian Shaw was like a third striker at times. No way Jose was at 5 at the back. But what a tactical masterclass. Man for man, all along the pitch. Fabian Shaw following Declan Rice around and literally getting the second goal. Fabian Shaw is the one who won the ball. So Eddie Howe got it absolutely bang on, and if people aren't singing his praises, and if you listen to a couple of Wildcard Wednesdays ago, I said he was the number 1 manager in Newcastle United's history, and I think I'm right now. I think I'm right now.
You did? But I'm also
And
going to
agree,
just
it
point
will
out
be.
that we all panicked in our little chat when we seen the 5 defenders on this team sheet. We did all panic.
I was okay.
But
I never
called for
doubted
it.
him.
no,
You got to
never
admit, I
doubted him.
having
called for the.
no, I'm not having that, Kev. We
I
panicked.
didn't.
Yeah.
I said I'm not sure on 5 at the back, but I never doubted him. I was never
Okay.
negative about it.
Okay. When I seen the score sheet, no. When I seen the oh my god, the lineup
Team sheet.
I did the team sheet, yeah. I did think tonight is not the night to be experimenting, Eddie. And I was a bit like, tonight is not the night. And then we started and I thought, this is why Eddie Howe is a Premier League manager and I just work 9 to 5. This is exactly why I'm not on the sideline, because he knows exactly what he's doing and I obviously know jack all. So that's cool.
The other thing as well, which was really like, I was nervous because I think every fan was, but I was saying my brother was at the game and I was like, oh, this is going to be a big game. 10 minutes before kickoff, I took the atmosphere in and I was like, we're not losing this. There's no way can Arsenal come into this atmosphere, this cauldron.
It wasn't
like
it?
we were getting booed as they came out onto the pitch. So there was just zero chance. I literally said 10 minutes before the game, we're winning this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
well done, fan.
Well done. Joe, anything to add?
Yeah.
Give it.
Right back to the start of what Kev was saying about the atmosphere, I suppose, because I said at the start, if we can create PSG-style atmosphere in there, there's not a chance that they're going to get anything from it. We did create that atmosphere, and look what happened. So I've always said, I think, we've all said it, to be fair, and Kev goes on about it a lot about our fans, to be fair, but he's bang on. If we can just create that atmosphere, and I know it's impossible to do it on a week-by-week basis, but still, I think we can do it maybe a little bit more than we do, because it just shows it can be done. I think we're unbeatable, and I would happily play. Everyone's like, "Oh, if they end up playing Liverpool in the final, Liverpool will smash them." We can beat Liverpool in that type of atmosphere. You know what I mean? So I'm not. Weirdly enough, by the time this pod is out, we're all going to know who we're playing because the game will have been finished. All speculation at the minute, but
imagine if we could play at home in the final, we'd win
we'd win it.
I'd 100%. Like I'd have it on, 100%. So yeah, that's like a given. But I don't even know how to start with last night. It was just perfect from start to finish. The atmosphere, the players, the fans were all worked in just perfect unison, didn't we? And just, oh, guys, you know what it is? I had so much to say. And when you have an absolute brain fart, this is what's happening right now because I want to say so much, but I don't even know what I want to say first. I don't know. Move on. I'm going to dig back in. I have got something to say. I'm having a moment.
You're having a moment. Are you okay?
Brain dead moment? No, I'm fine. I'm just having
Kev, you go, and then I'll go, and then we'll go back to Joe.
I was going to say I've probably got someone which can relight Joe's thoughts. Like we said about the atmosphere, as soon as Arsenal came out and the game started, I mean, what a start. That offside goal. I've seen it from 2 different angles. One angle he looks offside, the other one he looks on. Yeah. It's difficult. I can't complain. I don't think I can complain either way.
And I'm not going to complain because the result went in our favour in the end, obviously. But if on the flip side that didn't go in our favour, it was a completely different game, and it was a draw, and whatever. Let's say it wasn't going the way it went. On obviously, I know you guys wouldn't have seen the lines, obviously, where you were, but on the TV they didn't do the VAR lines. They didn't do them. It was just the referee had his Britney Spears moment, got his microphone out and was like, "It's a no goal."
I didn't hear that in the ground. I don't know if it's because
I couldn't hear it up in level 7 either.
Well, I'm not surprised because but on the TV you can hear it. Also, what a way to make referees even more hated by them announcing the no goal decision like that. It was a little bit of carnage, but you didn't actually see the lines, which I was going a bit mad about. I thought any other game you do, but this one,
close. You know what upset me most about that, and anybody who again knows me knows how much I despise VAR. Don't come to me about getting decisions right because it takes away from a fan experience. There's so many goals, including the second goal last night. I didn't really celebrate because I'm thinking, Shaw's won it, but he's probably offside.
Yeah.
That first goal is the first time in 3 years I forgot VAR existed. I went absolutely mental. It's unlike me. Normally, I'm quite calm and I celebrate and I enjoy it, but I'm always looking at linesmen or I'm looking at whatever. It's the first time in 3 years I forgot that VAR existed and I was literally going absolutely mental. And when it came up on my screen, I was like, why? How did I forget about it? It's ruined my football experience.
I've got a story about the first goal now.
And then I forgot about it.
My brain's washing up a bit.
what a start that was. And I haven't heard a noise like that. I know it didn't count, but I just
don't
wanted to get
care.
that into this podcast. I've never heard a noise like that at St James's Park ever.
You could feel it. This sounds really silly because I know it's not the same. Obviously, I've been to St James Park loads of times, so I know it's not the same. But you could this is going to sound really corny, and I'll get into it in the second part, but you could actually feel the atmosphere at home. I was watching it on my own with my dog on the couch, and I was sat there on the edge of my seat, and I was like, had goosebumps, and I was like, this is my club, like, and I'm not even there.
Yeah.
And you
I've
could
never
feel
heard.
it.
I've never heard
place
anything like it.
exploded, didn't
Noisy.
it?
Even Gary, the commentators, even Gary
Exploded.
Neville was talking. You couldn't even hear him. It was crazy. Joe, before
Brilliant.
you have
Gary
a
Neville said
brainstorm.
after that game, I think he was getting interviewed for something, and he was like, it's the best atmosphere he's been to this season. And he was like, if he's building a new stadium, you're losing such an advantage. And I was like, oh my God, finally somebody said it.
Somebody's going to say
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Joe, what we'll do is we'll do the first advert because we're
All right, okay.
over time, and then the second part's going to be the Arsenal game as well, because I just want to cover off every single thing.
Cool.
So
I'll tell you my little story that I forgot in my head before, because my brain's not working very well.
Well, okay. Hit me with the advert.
Fine, hit you with the. I'll try and read this one properly as well. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Lovely job. You didn't even croak your voice for anything.
Full
You're good.
concentration there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So part one, we reviewed the Arsenal game and how we're feeling, and part two, we're going to review the Arsenal game and how we're feeling. Going to keep on it because I'm not ready to stop talking about it.
Nope.
Right. Joe's got a story about the first goal, and I think has got
the
over
first
her
goal
Dory
wasn't,
moment.
obviously.
So let's go.
I was absolutely having a Dory moment. That's bang on.
You were.
I was. So yeah, apart from the fact that this stadium absolutely exploded, so did my nose. I got a popped nose. Yeah.
Stop it.
So basically, we're all going mental, right? I've got my mate Lindsay at that side, my dad, like, we're just grabbing each other, and there's like this guy's like jumping across for some bizarre reason, but we were all just hyped up, right? And I didn't even feel anything. This is how bad it is, right? We're all just jumping about, and I didn't even feel anything. And then I just thought I had a runny nose, so I went like that with my hand, and I'm just like, still screaming, but I looked at my hand, and I thought, huh? And I thought, I knew I was drunk, but I thought, nah. So I went like that with my other hand, and then I went, oh. And I was like, Dad, have I got blood on my face? And he's like, Joanne, your nose is bleeding. And I was like, what the hell? So yeah, I got a pop nose. So then my mate Lindsay, she's giving us a tissue. I'm like standing like this, waiting for the stupid VAR decision. So after all that, we didn't even get the damn goal from it. But yeah, I got a pop nose from that. But that was fun because I didn't even feel it, to be fair. And I think I'd had enough drink where I got over it so quickly. It was fine.
Proper northerner.
So,
that's a proper northerner. That.
Yeah.
Don't even care when I know
hard me.
Oh,
exactly.
Right. Let's just touch on something that I want to ask you both. And I don't know if it's me because, again, we all feel things very differently and we all have different emotions when it comes to our club and our players and Eddie Howe, because we all love him, obviously.
We have zero difference in opinion on Eddie Howe.
Never, because we love him. I want to ask a question that I've seen floating around on social media, and I was thinking it last night. It's nothing bad. Does this specific time of our Carabao Cup journey and probably our season in general, is there something just a little bit different? The feeling's different, the atmosphere is different. The players seem different. The attitude seems different. Even the sense of like the nervousness felt different. And I don't know if it's because we've experienced it before. How teams do this every season, by the way, I'll never know. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting used to it. But does it just for you guys feel ever so slightly different? Because for me, I could cry at every single opportunity, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm a woman or it's just because I generally feel that emotional about it. Kev.
Oh, it's different. It's different because we're winning it. That's why. I'm going to say it early. It's different because we are winning it this time. I genuinely believe that first one. You know what? My mate at work, I went to Wembley last time, and I went with my brother and a friend from work and a couple of other friends. And we sat outside of Wembley and they made a great point, and it deflated us a little bit, but it also eased the pressure because I was really nervous. I was like, oh my God, I could see them lift a trophy. And they were like, you know what? I can't see Newcastle lifting a trophy today. And I thought, you know what? You're right. I can't. This time, I can 100%
Absolutely
see
Oh, I can.
Newcastle winning a trophy. I remember, I don't know if it was a practice pod or one which actually went live. We've done so many of these, it's absolutely ridiculous now. But Ian was asking me for positives of the season, and I said lifting a trophy in an Adidas kit. And I had a picture in my mind, and I don't know if that's the reason why. But Adidas kit wasn't even out at the time. We still had
I remember you
Castro.
saying it.
Yeah, I said it, and I said, imagine lifting a trophy, but it's in an Adidas kit. And now I can just pick, I don't care who's in the final, we're winning it. This is our year.
Guys,
It's
I've got
finally
goosebumps just
happening.
talking about it.
It's happening. It's actually
It's
happening.
going to
Like,
happen.
that's
I've
it.
said
I
this.
think it is,
I have
We're
said
winning
it.
it. It doesn't matter what happens in the final. We could play awful. We could play terrible. The other team will hit the post 6 times and we'll get one fruity goal. This is it.
This is it.
2025 is the year we can finally say it hasn't been 70-odd year since we won something domestically.
It's been 70 years since the domestic cup,
We
isn't
did
it?
win the
Bang on
UEFA
70.
Cup. Well, a version of the UEFA
The
Cup.
version, but yeah.
It was changed names about 8 times. But yeah, it feels very, very different. And I think the players know. I think there would have been a lot of nerves in the last final. Players like Byrne, who never played at that level, really. Players like Longstaff, even Callum Wilson, who I love, obviously he's back. What a nice positive that is as well. But them players this time aren't going to be part of it. They're not going this time to be part of it and give us a good day out. They're going this time to win. And Bruno's already said it after on his interview on Sky Sports. Jacob Murphy said it on his CBS Sports one. Eddie Howe's been saying it all season. So actually the players know that they're not there to make up the numbers this time. They're there to win, and they are going to win. That's why it's different.
Guys, it's literally this is just so cringy, but I've got goosebumps because I know it's time. I know it is. You know when you can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming. Yeah.
This is going to be cropped in a month. It's going to be cropped in a month. And we've lost it.
This is going to be
We'll just delete it. Kev, just delete. Exactly. We'll find it.
Joe, do you agree, or are you? Well, I think you'd agree because you were nodding along, but you might disagree.
I'm like a little nodding dog as you guys are talking here. I'm just like, yeah. But it's true, and Kev is right. As much as I don't think we want to admit it, the last time it was more of a horrible, nervous feeling before the last final. This is nerves of excitement. Like last night was nerves of excitement, if you know what I mean. But that one was almost just pure nerves, and it did filter down to the players, and the players, like you said, they didn't have the experience. But I sat up until 1 o'clock in the morning last night. Not the wisest idea, full of drinking before I had to go to work today, but never mind.
Me too, babe.
Because I wanted to watch every single player's. Like I watched all the interviews. I've watched some of them again today, but they have been talking exactly along those lines of the fact that they now feel they've got more experience. So different. They are definitely going into it with more of a business mind than just like kind of just going for the fun. Sounds wrong, but you know what I mean by that.
There to win it.
They are taking it in a much more serious manner, and it's allowing us to actually enjoy it more. Ironically, so this is just it's just unbelievable, man. It's just my dad. I looked at my dad last night, and it was lush because when we scored the second goal, he didn't cry, but my dad's very emotional. Bless him. He's all like Mr. Hard Guy, but he's not. And he looked, and when we scored the second goal, and I went to give him a hug. Oh, man, he had tears in his eyes. And I know when I didn't say anything to him, I just gave him a massive hug. And I got him like that, and I just kissed his forehead, and I was like, we're going to do it, Dad, man. And he was like that. Like, proper, like,
this is
and I'm like, oh, bless you, man.
To me, is what Newcastle United are all about. Now, I know everyone says it about their club and the passion and things like that, but I don't think there's any club like Newcastle United, ever. I like when it comes to fans, passion, like love, emotion, like genuinely, like the way we love our club is just different to everyone else.
We just live and breathe it, don't we? And I appreciate there will be
swear by that.
You know what? That's a great point because I lived in London. I can't remember the years. I could work it out if I wanted to, but I don't because I'm just thinking about Newcastle constantly in a minute. I lived in London at one point and there was a lot of Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans, it was QPR, Palace. You could imagine how many diverse fan bases. And we were in the Championship, so it would have been 2017, around that time. I remember travelling. I worked kind of, it wasn't London, it's just like close to London, Hertfordshire way, Broxbourne. Anyway, I used to travel about 260 mile up and 260 mile down on like a Wednesday Championship night game, and it was Burton Albion at home. And I remember saying in the office, I was like, right, I'm going to shoot off at 4 o'clock today because I've got to get up. It's like a 7 o'clock kickoff or 8 o'clock kickoff or something. And they were like, what, you're traveling all the way up on a Wednesday night to watch Newcastle at home to Burton Albion. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, why? And I was like, it's my team.
It's my
What we
team,
do.
yeah.
I mean, I'm travelling back. And they just couldn't get their head around it with Tottenham, Arsenal, Palace. We're like, why would you do that to yourself? You're travelling longer than you're at the game. You're not even going to get to see your family. I was like, it's not about that. It's like, it's just come in. I've got to do my part. I've got to be there. And then the rest of it will work itself out. Like, but you're not going to get back to like early hours of the morning. And you're coming back to teach the next day. And I'm like, right, it doesn't matter. Like, this is priority. I think us being a one city club, and I know we've got other teams in the region, Middlesbrough, Sunderland and stuff. And I mean, they kind of have a slight history. Middlesbrough have more of one than Sunderland. But it's a case of, I think it's so special to us because nobody else gets it. Exactly what you said there, Nick. Nobody else gets, like the Arsenal, Tottenham fans, as good as fan bases as they are, and I'm not going to knock them because let's face it, football fans are pretty special anyway.
Yeah.
We just don't get it what it's like to be a Newcastle fan. I don't think anybody does. Even Celtic and Rangers can't because we're from the same city. It's one city, one club. It's a religion. It's a cathedral we visit, and we go no matter what. It doesn't matter what the circumstances, we show up, and that's why I think it's so different. And also, another argument to not build a goddamn new stadium.
Yes. And I will live by the Kevin Keegan quote of one day you will get your club back and it'll be everything you've ever wanted. And this is just what we wanted. And it's happened and we've got it back and I couldn't feel any more happy. Just to end part 2, and this is definitely going over the time, but I really don't care. I think it's very important that we talk about man of the match, right? So I could have given it to every single player on that pitch last night. There's not one player that I will have a bad word said about. But I think it was Alexander Isak that got man of the match, wasn't it? But yeah. But my man of the match, well, I'm going to ask you guys who your guys' man of the match was, and I'm going to give my man of the match, or can I give mine first? Because I feel like we might have the same, and I don't want to.
Would you like to give yours first?
I would love to go first.
I've got an exact man of the match. I know what you mean. There was multiple contenders there.
Yeah.
But I said one last night, and I've stuck to my guns, and I'm wholehearted on mine, I'll be honest, yeah.
I said it when I watched him screaming Gabrielle's face, and I was like, that is my man of the match. Kieran Tripps.
Yeah.
Kieran Trippier. I will never, ever have a bad word said about that man ever again. Ever again. His personal life can stay his personal life, but his football life is our life. I will never, ever have a bad word.
I mean, don't go too far.
Don't go too far. Manfred's getting to your head.
You said a bad word. You said a bad word about me. When I said it was season, but yeah.
He has to be, and I even went as far as to comment on his Instagram post and say this, guys, so that's a bit sad, is so damn important to the football team. I don't care what anyone says. We said it the other day when we were talking about potential lineups. I think it's a good game for Kieran Trippier to start. He brings his calmness, he brings his experience. Nothing against Tino. I think he's obviously having a great season, but these are the games where Kieran Trippier matters. He was up for it from the get-go, and he was like a little chihuahua. Like just barking in people's faces, winding them up, walking away when they bit.
But that's what he does, though, isn't it?
That's what he does so well. He's just
mentality, but he does it in such a special way. Man.
Does it in such a good way, and his football last night was just—it's probably one of the best times I've seen him play recently. He's had some up and down games recently.
It's been his best game for a long time.
I thought
he's done well every time he's come in this season. I think this season. Yeah. Obviously, last season he had a bit of a patch, but this season, every time he's played, I think he's been incredible.
I'm not saying he hasn't been bad, by the way, Kev. I just meant that was my outstanding performance of what he's done this season. That's all.
He only lost his place because of an illness. He got back in for 2 games in a row on that 9.
No, he was great. He was
good.
And then he got ill, and Tino got back in, and then Tino played really well, and Trippier was probably like, oh,
but he was next level last night. Yeah. That's the difference there. Like he was great in the other games, but he was absolutely next level last night.
That's the Champions League player that we,
that's the experience
all those years ago.
We've talked about
the experience that we wanted. They all played well. There's not a bad word to say about any of them on that pitch last night, but he was my standout player, and I absolutely love Tripps. Yeah. Everyone knows that. So he is my man of the match. Joe, who's yours?
I mean,
same.
As we've just oh god, this is why I've been agreeing with everything you said.
This is why you're the yin to my yang.
This is exactly why, girl. But no, he was like I watched him a lot off the ball, even with my stupid drunken eyes. But like I know, but you have got to admit it here. There was probably some things I didn't see. But what I did like to do, and I suppose that's what I love about being at the match, sometimes you don't have to just simply watch whatever the camera's telling you to watch. So I just love watching him sometimes, especially when he's like that. He's a natural born leader. We're going to struggle to ever have another or better captain than him. I'm not saying Bruno's a bad captain before anyone wants to have a dig. I'm just saying he doesn't have that leadership quality, because Kieran is on another level when it comes to leadership qualities. But then the experience that we talked about, bringing him in, which is exactly why I said he should have been brought in. So thanks, Eddie, you got the memo on that one. And just to flip back to something that I didn't cover earlier on because of that brain fart I was having, I am on record saying I wanted the three at the back with Trips and Hall as the wing back. So again, thanks, Eddie, for taking the memo on that one. Eventually, he does listen to GSP in Newcastle, apparently. There we go. There's the plug.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement. It was Trips.
We are.
Kev, have you got anyone different, or are you?
I've got a couple of. I think Trippier was probably man of the match, but I've got a couple of shout outs. Anthony Gordon, just for his interview afterwards, saying we have to stay humble. That was just
I love that.
Unbelievable housery, because again, we'll be watching and thinking, I can't believe that's come back to bite us already. So well done, Gordon. And he did have quite a good game. I thought Bruno was unbelievable.
He gave me my favourite moment of the game at one point.
Not in terms of creating chances, not in terms of, run, but he was doing keepy ups after about 15 minutes.
That was
4 minutes. That was brilliant.
That was brilliant.
How calm can you be? Tuning up at home, the atmosphere is absolutely. He's just doing keepy ups and passing it off to his mate like he's in the park.
This is where the atmosphere helps them, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is where they get to do that based on how we are.
And for me, you know what? I think he has been absolutely incredible as captain. He's a very different type of captain to what we used to do with Trippier and Lascelles. Yeah. He's not as vocal, but in terms of leading by example, he just doesn't stop fighting, never gives up, constantly setting an example of making the right decisions over and over and over again, and being brave when he's on the ball. So I actually think Bruno was an absolute inspired choice of captaincy from who my man of the match is, and that's obviously Eddie Howe. What a shock! But I know Joe said she wanted to free the back, but nobody saw that coming. Like, there's a game happening tonight, which is last night. If you listen to this, Tottenham don't have a backup plan. They have one way of playing, and if you beat them, you beat them well. Arsenal were coming into this game thinking, well, the last twice we played Newcastle, we played 4-3-3, other than a very slight 5-5-0. They never saw a 5-4-1 flat coming, or even a 3-4-3 with Murphy and Gordon as like strikers. With it was such an interchangeable formation, but Arteta couldn't cope. The Arsenal players didn't know what was happening. Fabian Schär was on the edge of their box. It was a tactical masterclass, and he deserves every bit of credit for it, because, believe it or not, I'm still going to mention it. There was idiots about 7 weeks ago saying, oh, well, it might be his time. Get away and jump. It's never his time. He's staying for as long as he wants. Tactical masterclass.
This is very true.
This is very
Basically,
true.
We have the best manager, and they have
100%.
Mikel Arteta. It must be the ball.
I was crying at that chant.
Unbelievable.
Just on the Bruno thing, my favourite part of the whole entire game was when Declan Rice absolutely nailed a tackle. Didn't even get a card for it, by the way. Absolutely nailed a tackle into Bruno. Bruno went flying. He got up like he celebrated. He just scored the winning goal of a Champions League final. I've never seen anything like it. And the crowd went wild. I was like,
sideways Declan Rice, massively overrated. I've been saying it on this podcast for so long, and I've had so much stick for it. I stick by it. He's so overrated. He wouldn't get now midfield. He wouldn't get now midfield.
I'm not going to give any of the Arsenal players any sort of airtime, but I actually really like Declan Rice as a footballer. But I don't know if he's just maybe massively flopped under Mikel Arteta. That's my opinion, and that's all I'm going to say on it. But that's fine. I don't think
he's not £100+ million player.
No.
That's the problem there. He's not. He's not his actual valuation.
He's a glorified Harry Winks.
Okay, he definitely wouldn't get into our midfield. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there before we start arguing. This is meant to be a really happy pod, guys. It's meant to be a really happy pod.
It's happy arguing. It's good. It's happy arguing.
It's happy arguments. Yeah, we're meant to be really happy. We're meant to all stay friends. The second part's really ran over, guys. I'm really sorry.
Want me to do a podcast? Do you want me to do an advert now, and then we'll come back?
Yeah. Okay. Second advert. Go.
The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football. It even has a dedicated Premier League wrap-up, and it comes in 5 different languages. Unfortunately, Geordie isn't one of them. This is your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find the Global Sports Podcast Network wherever you find your usual podcasts.
Lovely job, Kev. Thank you very much. Right, we've covered off Arsenal, the Carabao Cup enough. I think I could honestly speak it.
Do another half hour.
I could honestly speak another half an hour on it.
I reckon we can do what we want.
What I am going to say, I think we can do what we want. What I am going to sit here and say is I'm so happy Arsenal turned up to St James Park after winning the league at the weekend after thumping Man City 5-1, and we absolutely turned them over 4-0 on aggregate.
You're special.
Stay humble.
Stay humble. And it must have been the ball. And there's no tears that I love more than Mikel Arteta's. And I'm just going to leave this
in the ocean, aren't they?
Salted in the ocean. I am just going to leave this here. And I feel bad because I've got some friends that support Arsenal, and I'm not going to include them in this. But their fan base and their entire team has become unbearable. They've become unbearable.
They have.
They've become unbearable.
Like
I knew you were going to say that.
I do.
Not anymore. This is the problem, though. I used to actually have a bit of a soft spot, and I love them.
I'm not letting Arteta tarnish them because I still think of the Wenger years and not all the fans.
The fan base, Kev, though. The fan base is turning just as whingy.
I did say I have a couple of friends who support Arsenal, and they're not in this bracket, but some of them have become unbearable. So and it must be sad for them seeing that our striker had their 2 centre backs literally like Bambi on ice.
You mean their striker? He plays for Arsenal, doesn't he?
Apparently, yeah.
Arsenal striker,
social media and
Paul Merton kept talking about that this morning on Sky Sports.
Their striker's not playing in the League Cup final. I must be confused somewhere.
One question final on this. Obviously, when this goes out tomorrow, we're gonna know who we're facing in the final. One question, need one answer from the pair of you. Who would you rather? Liverpool, Spurs? Hit me, Kev.
I'd rather beat Liverpool. So Liverpool, we're beating either of them, and I'd much rather beat Liverpool because I don't like them. So Liverpool, I want to absolutely hammer Liverpool 4-0 at Wembley. Bruno give it in the biggin. Salah not even, but Salah's probably sat there thinking, you know what? I'm going to ask Eddie if I can sign on a free for Newcastle at the end of that League Cup final when he realises what's happening here. Salah, Isak and Gordon as a front three next season, playing with Puma footballs because Puma have the football for the Premier League next season. So we're going to win the league next season. We're going to win the League Cup this season. FA Cup's on. Hey, could be a double this season and a quadruple next season.
Yeah, going to get on that in a minute.
Liverpool for me because we'll smash whoever we play.
Okay, Joe?
I love your optimism, Kev. I'm not going to lie. Absolutely. And by the way, nothing would please me more than smashing Liverpool. But I've got to be honest, I'd still prefer to play Spurs, that's all. I've just got to be honest because I would happily beat both of them. But right now, my only focus is to win that trophy. And I don't care who we have to play at this point.
On the same night.
But you know what? I believe we could. I believe we could beat either. Is what I meant, not both of them.
Right, we're going to play Liverpool at 2:00. Give us a couple hours. We'll play
6 o'clock.
Tottenham at 6.
Yeah, no rotation either because Eddie will play the same 11, right?
Right.
But no, I've got to stick with Spurs because I do strongly believe that we will or beat whoever we're playing. But I would prefer to be Spurs.
You know what worries us about Spurs? Even though we are so Spursy and we've battered them every time. We'll sack the manager and they'll have a new manager lift. Ange won't be there if we get to the final.
I'm telling you now that he will be there if they're in the final, and if they lose the final, then he'll be sacked. Mark my words.
He sacked Mourinho.
We're going to get him sacked.
This owner sacked Jose Mourinho, probably one of the best records in finals in world football. They sacked him before the final, so
I don't think they'll do it
before a final. And then we get a new manager lift, a new bounce, and then we're like, oh no. What a bad time to play Tottenham. So Liverpool.
Well, not because our players are so focused and they're on it. They will not feel that. Nah, none of that.
My personal preference is, from a more selfish point of view, is the fact that I would rather face Spurs because there is absolutely no way on this goddamn absolute planet that I can sit in the same room as me and my husband watching Liverpool and Newcastle because he's a goddamn Liverpool supporter and I can't bear it. Cannot bear it. There will be a divorce. Not doing it. So I'd rather face Spurs. The
question would be, why are you marrying a Liverpool fan?
I know, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, you're coming up here anyway, Nick, so just forget about him.
True, because there's no chance.
I don't even know him, but yeah.
We've just sacked him off for a
I'm
bloke.
sure he's a lovely guy, but yeah,
there's
don't marry Liverpool fans.
absolute no chance that we're going to Wembley, is there, Joe? So we're going to be in the Strawberry living it up.
This is fine.
Kev, are
Strawberries
you
the
going
next
to
best
Wembley, by the way? Will you be going?
100%. I was
100%.
there
I
2
thought you
years
would be.
ago. Well, I
love
say
that.
100%. As long as I qualify again, like I did
You
last
will.
year, then I will
I
definitely
say,
go.
Nick, we're allowed in the ballot. There's this very tiny, teeny,
Tiny.
minuscule chance of us going.
Well,
Some
we could
members went last year.
Yeah, I'll
Not
100% be
that's 2 years.
trying.
You know what I mean?
But
That's
I
time.
went 2 years ago, so I'm hoping I can go this year.
I'm-
And I've said this before, it's a day before my birthday.
It's the week before my 30th birthday. So it'll be, I don't care. And I'm just going to put this out there for all the Newcastle fans. It doesn't matter if you're at Wembley or you're up north or you're watching it wherever in the world. It is going to be the same goddamn atmosphere anywhere you are, because we are the fan base to be around, and I'll hold ourselves to that. So we're going to have a good time no matter where we are.
Sometimes with a fan base to be around.
But you know what I mean. What I'm trying to say, Kev, for the listeners, it's going to be good no matter where you are, right? Because it was good when I was down south when I watched it last time, so it was good.
Surround yourself by the good Geordies and you're fine.
Exactly. Right. It makes me really sad to have to stop talking about Arsenal, but we do have another game on Saturday, so I thought we'd better give that a quick 5-minute airtime. Apparently, it's the FA Cup. So I'm just going to ask.
Another menial cup.
Another cup we're going to win.
Another cup that we're still in.
We won't be. Another cup we're still in, and I tell you who isn't in it. Arsenal.
Ooh.
Oh God.
They're not.
They're not.
Stay humble. Man United beat them on penalties.
Oh, they've got nothing going on now because Liverpool are going to win the league.
Yeah.
Well,
and I want them to as well.
No, Arsenal won the league at the weekend, remember?
Yeah, in their little humble brains.
After their little 5-1
hammering staying humble as always.
Of the poor Man City side that we've seen this year. Anyway, guys, my question just to close this off is, are we expecting, I mean, I'm going to say yes, but are we expecting a bit of a squad rotation? Sven Botman's been confirmed to come off yesterday with a bit of a knee issue. Obviously, we've got Joe Linton out, so there's going to be 2 forced changes there, most likely. What do we think? Do we think he'll change it up quite a lot? Do we think we'll probably see Wilson on and then hopefully he'll stay on?
I think he'll go back to his formation that we've been playing in every other game this season, put it that way, and just go back to obviously the back 4. But obviously Botman's, that's secured the back 4 anyway, hasn't it really? So Burn, Cole at the left, Tino at the right maybe.
Kraft could come in as a centre-half.
Tino can come back in though. He could, but it'll be interesting to see if he does or not. You never know with Eddie, isn't it? We could sit, and this is funny, and I love debating it, because Eddie then just does what the hell he wants, which is great, because it's his team.
And again, this is why Eddie Howe is the manager, and we just sit on the podcast
and why we're just sitting here talking.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because we know nothing. Not a single thing.
I love knowing nothing. It's great.
Kev, do you think
living the dream?
We're living the dream. Do you think Kev? Do you think?
I hope I start. I hope I get a game. Hey, I'm ready for the call up, Eddie. I'm ready for the call up. If you need a striker, right, put Asula on the bench. I'll try and lead the line against Birmingham.
Love it. I forgot my question because I've literally.
Do you think we'll talk about Birmingham, man?
The changes I expect. I would love to see Kraft there. I thought Kraft came on against Arsenal and did very well as centre half on that right hand side. So I'd like to see Kraft maybe play. I think in terms of who needs a rest, I think we've got to rest Bruno. Probably just emotionally, it probably took a lot out of him yesterday because he would have been feeling the pressure. I'd love to see Tonali get a rest. I know that won't be popular because everyone says, "Oh, well, he had a year and a half." Well, he didn't really have it off, did he? Because he's got to get back to the sharpness. But I'd like to see them 2 rested again. We just don't want them injured. With Joe Linton being injured, we do not want anything happening to them 2. I'd like to see Shaw rested. As much as I would love to see Callum Wilson, I think we've got to be careful with him for obvious reasons. But he's one of my personal favourite players, so I'd love to see him get some minutes. Maybe give Asula a start again.
I agree. I would.
I think Gordon needs a rest. He looked absolutely knackered at the end of the Arsenal game.
He's gassed.
But again, Barnes isn't back. And I mean, unless you're going to play Willock on a wing and play Longstaff and Miley as midfielders, we're starting to look very, very thin again, which is a little bit worrying moving forward. But yeah, I think you will change it as much as you can. I don't think it'll just be a complete different 11 because I don't think we have the capability to do that, unfortunately. But I think you will change it as much as you can. I would expect to see Willock, Longstaff, Tino, and that's the only 3 I would actually expect to see.
I was going to say
Maybe Miley. I'm not.
But look what happened against Bromley, and look how lower league they are. So look at all the changes we made, and let's get real. We didn't then take full control of that game. until we put the likes of Bruno on. This there lies the problem.
Yeah, I don't expect Miley. I think he trusts Longstaff and Willock enough, but again, my 5 at the back was a tactical masterclass, but is it also a message to Longstaff and Willock of Joe Linton's injured, but I don't trust you anymore?
Don't trust you. Yeah.
Too many chances, and Willock's not in form. Longstaff, again, has got a very love-hate relationship with the fans. So was it a message of, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was probably purely tactical.
Yeah.
But there could be a little bit in there of, well, actually, if Joe Linton can't play, I'd much rather bring in another centre-half and
100%.
rely on one of you two, which sounds very harsh, and he would never word it that way because he's a much better manager than that. But it could be almost a message of, Willock and Longstaff, you're going to start this game, but you need to start finding form again because otherwise,
Yeah, I did say that a couple of weeks ago when we recorded with Ian, Kev. Joe Willock, not so much. I feel like when he does hit form, he has, he is great. I just feel like he's got a bit of confidence issues at the minute. And he's someone that we really need to get behind because I feel really sorry for him. Sean Longstaff, though, it's a love-hate relationship with me. So I'm not too sure. Yeah, not too sure. But I agree with you guys, what you said.
I have that same relationship with Longstaff, right? But whenever anybody talks about him, I feel this urge to just jump and defend him. But
I agree.
When I talk about him, I'm not.
I know.
No, I'm not like nasty, but I'm not the most.
Yeah, because we don't hate him. We're not horrible to him. That's why it's a bit of a different thing there.
I agree.
One of us.
We're just honest about him. That's all. I hate the kind of abuse that he gets, and if I'm honest, I kind of hate. And this happens across to all Geordies, by the way. We've done it in the past to kind of plenty of them, and I think a lot of teams do it. Why on earth do you beat up your own ahead of beating up like a foreign player? That baffles me. Why would you pick on when you're homegrown?
You shouldn't be beating up foreign players either, just for the purpose of.
Come on, you know where I'm going with that.
In your own home
players. Beat up the foreign players.
Joe chose violence today. I chose violence. Yeah, but you know what I mean about that. What I mean is we shouldn't be doing it to anyone more than others. I just don't understand why. And it doesn't just happen at our club, why basically fans will pick on someone who's like homegrown and like Geordie through and through for us, or Scouse through and through, you know what I mean? Whoever it is. I've just never understood it, and it does happen throughout many clubs. It just baffles us, I'll be honest.
Easy target.
Guys, I'm
the scapegoats, aren't they? It's mad, yeah.
It's crazy. Sorry. I would love to carry on going, but I'm seriously going to need to wrap it up. It's been lovely talking to you both. I could talk about the Arsenal game forever and ever until the next game. So yeah, we are going to leave it here, people.
And we just not play again. Just that's it.
Never again.
At the end of football, we're just really happy, and that's how it ends. That's how football ends.
The end.
The end. Everyone that is listening, please head to the Global Sports Podcast Network Limited YouTube, where Daily Newcastle has their own playlist where you can listen, watch all previous episodes, and obviously this one. We will obviously be back now on Monday with a brand new episode after our FA Cup game on Saturday, which hopefully is another win, and we're still in that cup. And remember, everyone, stay humble.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.